What's up? Welcome to another episode of the Tina Parker Show. Y'all, if you have not subscribed, okay, you see that little thing I'm putting right there? Yeah, right now is a perfect time to subscribe. Subscribe to my channel for everything that's going to help you move forward in life, in faith, in your fitness, in your finances, and your freedom, okay? I'm a truth teller. I'm telling you how it is, how I changed my life, and really how to build from anywhere. Okay. And sometimes you gotta, if you saw my clip today on Instagram, it's all about you gotta be willing to sacrifice. Sacrifice for what you want, or what you want becomes a sacrifice. I heard that from Bradley and I loved it. Okay. Today, the adaptation. Okay. You want to adapt. Okay. Is survival. So sometimes folks, they're not willing to go into survival. Okay. Sometimes we have to go into survival, like we're scrappers. Okay. Maybe you have been a scrapper in the past. You grew up as a scrapper, and now you're finally doing well financially, and all of a sudden the world is flipping around and you're starting to learn that things could change, and you're waking up to what could be the end result of your job. We have mergers, we have acquisitions happening, we have crazy stuff going on in the world, right? We're going to end up, I mean, people, everything is unsure. There's companies laying off jobs. I just heard yesterday that Amazon has uh, just laid off 30,000 people. UPS just laid off 34,000 people. If you have not ever been in this situation where you have lost your job, maybe you are going through a divorce, or you're with a toxic husband and you're staying because you are afraid. You're afraid of going without that income. You're afraid of what your life will look like. I'm here to tell you, like, hello, I'm living it, okay? But I'm building, okay? Building a coaching program. I'm building things to help businesses, to help employees, to help any entrepreneur out there that is struggling, or startup entrepreneur. And today, I'm doing a fitness challenge. If you don't know, it's 30 days of doing 100 heel elevated squats, okay? Your legs are going to shake, but as you keep going, you're going to realize that you're not quitting on yourself, okay? You got to go through some pain. That's what that's about, okay? So adaptation is survival. How to stay strong when everything is changing. Some of you might be putting your feet in the ground about crypto. Well, it's here, okay? It's big, all right? And there's already people making millions off of it, if you didn't know that. And so there's a huge opportunity. You could put a $500, $1,000 in XRP or in one of these stable coins, and you're going to become extremely wealthy. So there's so many things out there, you guys, and I'm here keeping it real and showing you how to overcome and pull yourself out even when it's freaking hard and you're in survival. Okay? The world isn't slowing down. AI, digital currency, new systems, new expectations. Survival now depends on how fast you can adapt. In today's episode of the Relationship Bank, if you don't know, I'm the founder of the Relationship Bank. Tina Kelly Parker, which is me. Hi. What adaptation is the ultimate survival skill, or why it's the ultimate survival skill, physically, mentally, financially, and spiritually. You'll learn how to strengthen each of your 4 pillars, okay? Faith, fitness, finance, and freedom. And why you feed your mind and body, or how you feed your mind and body, determines how far you'll rise. It's important that you're feeding your body with real food, you know, not fake food, modified food, bullshit that's in the stores, okay? You want to get rid of that, because it's clouding your brain, it's making you weak, and it's hurting you. Faith, adapt spiritually before you adapt strategically. Okay, you guys, if you don't know, I was in OnlyFans. Okay, keeping it real. I was on OnlyFans. But I knew that wasn't my ultimate deal. You know what I mean? When my husband and I separated, like I didn't want to go work a 9 to 5. Okay, I wanted some freedom. So I went to OnlyFans. Um, I'm not doing that anymore. And so, you know, I'm going all in with my faith. I'm obedient. Okay? Adapt spiritually before you adapt strategically. Okay? So here's the truth. You can't pivot powerfully if you're spiritually weak. That is true. Okay? Because there's so much like destruction and just it's not the ultimate goal. Okay? Let's just be real. Yeah, it's a way to make money, but I hope that my message will inspire women to leave that industry and go for, use their gifts to serve in the world. Okay, so change exposes your faith level. The people who thrive are the ones grounded in truth and not fear. Sometimes it is scary. Sometimes you're going to feel a little fear, but it's the ones that keep moving through that or use their fear as fuel to keep moving, keep growing. When you stop feeding on fear and start feeding on faith, like you might feel when you leave that, or maybe you're not there yet, okay, you're still in it. You might feel that you're far from your spiritual faith, and what's that Yahweh is real, okay? That's his real name. I've had to go all in and learn, dig back into scriptures and learn what's the truth. And it's really not, to be honest with you, it's very different from what I learned when I did go to church. Um, I feel like they teach a little something a little different from the pulpit. And sometimes the examples of leadership isn't what they preach. Um, and so I fell away from going to like a church, and I just have been more spiritual between him and I. I believe there's a bigger power. I believe he's helped me throughout my life. Prayer, scripture, and gratitude. You hear the divine direction clearly. If you're not praying, if you're not pouring into Yahweh, and letting him know that, you're here, I trust you, and I'm going to let you guide me through this wilderness, then you're not going to hear you won't be, you won't have discernment. You get more direction if you do that. I'll just say that, okay? So I used to chase clarity from people. Now I get it from prayer. Little whispers, he comes to me in my dreams, things like that. When I quiet the noise, I see the next move. Fitness, okay? Discipline is how you train for uncertainty. It's so powerful, okay? Not just faith, but fitness is like how you reclaim your body, your belief in yourself. Every rep is a reminder that pressure builds power. Though, we're doing 30 days of 100 heel elevated squats. They aren't just about a number, okay? It's about teaching your body to respond, not retreat. So when you feel that your legs are shaking, you push through it, or you just pause and go back to it, you're teaching your body that I'm in control, okay? That you can do hard things. It's been huge for me. Adaptation happens through repetition. That's why the fitness and businesses are mirrored images of how well people can adapt, because things are going to change, things evolve. We're going from paper currency to digital currency. We have bank collapses. We have businesses laying people off. So there's like all these things. You might be told you need to move and you're ready to move. Whatever it is, right? So right now I'm staying at my daughter's, okay? And sometimes you might hear the kids. You might hear my granddaughter, like she's loud. So we're just going to move on with this series, So when my legs start burning, I tell myself this is where growth begins. That same mindset got me through business losses and rebuilds. I'm going to tell you something. Like, honestly, it is also when you tell yourself, I am going to feel and look my best, and that drives you, whatever it is that drives you, you know. But if you can be disciplined in your fitness and and other things in your life, a routine in the morning, that same mindset will carry through in business and your mind. So let's talk about finance. The future belongs to the adaptive. That's a good one, huh? The future begins with the adaptive. You guys, if you don't know, I am the founder of the Women of Action Academy.
Welcome to the Tina Parker Show, where we burn the bullshit, speak the truth, and build brands that break chains. I'm Tina Parker, spiritual badass, truth teller, and the woman who turns pain into purpose. If you're ready to lead with fire, heal out loud, and drop the damn mic, you're home.
That's what's up, okay? That's who I am. All right. Finance. The truth is the economy rewards awareness, not autopilot. AI and automation are rewriting banking. Financial freedom now requires learning, pivoting, and owning. You want to own your own bank. If that doesn't make sense to you, keep following me. You know, you want to own your own. A bank is a place where people can go to get their financial service needs taken care of. Okay, you are that relationship. You're building your relationship bank. Okay, and that's where, you know, you take your relationships that you had at the bank. And listen, honestly, if you've never been in banking, you can still build a relationship bank. Okay, you know, relationships are the new currency. So find relationships that align with you, right? You want to find people in all industries. Be a connector, okay? Just so you know, that's what I was at the bank for over 20 when I was in banking for over 20 years. People came to me because they trusted that I would refer them to a vetted person in the car business, um, wealth management, treasury management, all these different services and needs. Maybe to buy a house, they'd come to me and say, what realtor would you recommend I see? You know, what's CPA? Oh, always had people ask me about CPAs. You guys, honestly, you are the relationship, and you find relationships and mentors and people in all these industries that can help serve your relationships that come to you, that trust you, that, you know, they know that you're a connector. Okay, that's what that's all about. Okay, and you can earn a living doing that. All right, I'll show you how. Okay, so you want to stop waiting for security in systems, because those systems are changing. The banks are changing. So many organizations are changing. AI is taking over jobs. So you got to learn how to need security in a company, because you got to have security in your own self, that you know you can survive, that you've got the skill set, the mindset, the habits, um, you do all these things and you desire more. You don't want to keep your lifeline in a company that could change. Okay. Adapt by becoming your own bank. Understand cash flow, tax strategy. Oh, that's huge. I talked about that on my show yesterday. The W-2 is the most expensive loyalty program out there. Okay, if you don't know that yet, it is. Okay. I used to tell my bankers all the time, like, the system is, you know, the system is replacing roles, but not relationships. When I was at the bank, I was like, everyone comes to me for these things. They don't, and then I realized when I left one bank and I'd go to another, those same relationships would follow me. Okay. If you own your relationships and your knowledge, you'll never be obsolete. Don't ever forget that. Freedom. Let's go. Let go of what keeps you tethered. You know what tethered means? It means you're attached to something. You don't, whether it's a trauma that you had when you were a child, whether it's a company that you were in, whether it's a relationship that you're in, become untethered. Okay? That allows you to adapt, to expand, to grow, to evolve. All right? Freedom means being light enough to move emotionally, financially, and spiritually. Some things have to die so that things can be born. Old habits, toxic environments, or survival mode mindsets. So sometimes people will, I don't know what kind of parents you had or friends, but you might be surrounded by people that have limited mindsets. Okay. They might say, oh, you could never do that. Here's an example. This is the first time I realized it. I I had my daughter was like in second grade, and I was dating this guy, and we were talking marriage, and I said we should get an apartment together. Okay, he was 26 at the time, 26, living with his grandma, and when he mentioned it to his mom said, "You can't do that. You can't afford that." I was blown away because I became a mom. I got pregnant at 16, had my daughter at 17. I was already doing things. My parents didn't tell me I couldn't do things. My mom told me I could do anything. Um, so when don't defend anybody's limitations on you, okay? You need to realize that you have the power already within you. You're a child of God. Did you know that? Yahweh is his name. You're a child of his, and you have the power within you. You have the magic within you that you are limitless. You can do anything that you desire. You got to cut the limitations, cut the people that are toxic and limited, get around people that have big goals, big dreams. They think big, okay? They're doing big things. They're movers and shakers. Get around those people and it will change your world, okay? Fuel matters. Okay, that's the food. I'm adding this in because it's so huge. If 80% of what you eat is going to matter if you want to get in the best physique of your life. Okay, so what you feed yourself physically and mentally fuels every pillar that we've talked about. You can't hear divine direction with a foggy mind or a toxic circle. You just can't. Okay, so clean food, clean thoughts, clean energy, clear discernment, and strong decisions. If you are if you're a guy and you're watching porn all the time, you're not going to have discernment. You're going to be jaded. You're going to be it's going to be difficult for you to make strong decisions, okay? Because your mind is just like I think that mind, if you're addicted to that, I think it's trash. I think it turns to trash. And so you can't see things right. You start limiting yourself. I don't think it's healthy. Okay. Now, I will say, if you and your husband want to watch a little porn, get turned on, it's not like you're addicted to it. You just watch it, briefly, maybe to get a little turned on. That's different, you know, and that's not every time. That's just like once in a great while. It's not, then I don't think it can be a big problem. I think it's more those that are addicted. But I will say, if you don't have control, it can lead to addiction. Just like, here's another example. I have a couple drinks every maybe 6 months. Like, I'm not a big drinker of alcohol. I, maybe socially, if I go to an event, I might have one or two drinks. Like, I rarely drink. I want to feel good every morning. I don't want to have to start over. I start my day with cloudy mind. It's foggy. I might be sick. All those things affect. And I want to be strong. I want to, like, you can't hit your goals if you're sick and cloudy and, you just can't. I want a good night's sleep, 7 to 8 hours. I want, people underestimate that, by the way. I've noticed a huge difference by me sleeping longer in how I feel throughout the day. than when I was only getting, 5 to 6 hours of sleep. So I want you to know that if you have the ability to just do things that, like if you watch a little porn with your spouse every once in a great while, just to mix it up, just to make it a little different, I don't think that's a problem, you know. Maybe it could turn into a problem. I don't know. It depends on the people, I think. Um, but the food, what you're putting in your body every day, alcohol, if you're drinking every day, it's not going to benefit you at all. So if you can do it and know that you're not addicted to it, it can be every once in a great while, I think you're fine. Processed food and processed media both numb you. The headlines right now, right? Um, if you get caught up in that, it really can just pull you in to negativity. You can't adapt when your body's tired and your mind's polluted. That's true. Here's a little assignment. Your assignment, adapt on purpose. Okay. Audit what you're feeding, your faith, your body, your bank account, and your freedom. Replace one toxic, and I don't think people change everything overnight. That might be too overwhelming, right? It might be, I'm going to replace, maybe you start going to bed at a decent time so you can wake up early and get to the gym. It's one thing that you do. You go to sleep a little bit earlier. You don't go out with your buddies every single night. You know, I think that's important. Sleep is a huge thing. It is. People underestimate that. I used to say, oh, I only need 5 to 6 hours. But then by 11, 12, I needed a nap. And so I feel so much better by getting 7 to 8 hours. And I think our body needs it. And it helps you actually produce some really incredible hormones if you can get that longer sleep. So try it. Replace one toxic input today with something that builds you. Build your body, build your bank account, builds your relationships, all of those things, okay? And comment evolve if you're done surviving and ready to rise. And I'll see you tomorrow for day 8 of this 30-day challenge where we're going to talk about building your own bank from the inside out. All right? If this, if you felt it in your spirit if you felt something with you and you think someone else should hear it, subscribe for yourself, but then also share this with someone else. Sharing is caring. Thanks for joining my show. Have a great day.